Hello and welcome to Punters Inside Run. What a weekend of racing we have. I don't think it's ever got much bigger than this. There are just group races falling out of the trees. There's prize money floating across the country in billions. Mick Sharkie. It's not much. Doesn't get much bigger than this.
It doesn't get much bigger, Matty. I wish it was a little bit warmer, though. It might be inside run, but I'm outside up here on the farm, and it is freezing. It's been raining all day, but we hope we get some better weather come Saturday for a massive day of racing, Melbourne and Sydney. I can't wait.
Yeah, it is incredible, isn't it? And the two clubs have worked together, so there's not going to be any sort of clashes. We're going to see all this magnificent Group 1 racing, and we'll start with the richest race, of course, the Everest. It's massive. I was there last year. I've witnessed it in person. I Wish I Win's the favourite. It was a target race always for Peter Moody, and it was a good comeback 6 weeks ago. Been kept fresh for this. The naysayers say that Barrier 1 will stop this horse winning. What do you think?
It's not an ideal gate. I heard Peter Moody on radio during the week. Somebody asked him and said, "Oh, what barrier would you like?" And he said, "Oh, anything from sort of 5 to 9."
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as he said that, I thought, yeah, you'll either get the outside or the inside. Sure enough, up came gate 1. It's not the best gate for the horse because he does get back a little bit, and we know he's at his best when he can wind up unfettered and really hit the line. So it's going to take some riding by Luke Nolan to win the race. But what he does have is the best horse in the race, and that's a huge plus. So he is on the best horse. Nothing in this race has the turn of foot that I Wish I Win has. And he's got another gear late in his races that the rest of these just don't have. So fingers crossed for me from the inside gate. I'm hoping he's midfield or just off midfield. And the runs come, they start to fan a little bit.
Yep.
And he can find an angle through. Look, he only needs a gap a horse wide and he'll explode through it. We're getting nearly each way odds to find out, Matty. You know, he's nudging towards that $5 mark. If he's $5, $5.50 on race day, I think he's an each way bet for me. I think the value in the race, now everyone's talking about, think about it, and to a slightly lesser extent, Private Eye, Hawaii 5-0. He just continued to build a CV, this horse. Look how well the stable's going at the moment. They're absolutely flying over any distance range. Hawaii 5-0 chased Think About It to line and was very, very good in the Stratty. And then we saw it the other day in the Premier. I think on the face value of that run, I would say Hawaii 5-0's improved a bit. I don't reckon there's much between him and Think About It. So for a horse that I doubt we've seen the best of yet, I think Hawaii 5-0 is the value in the Everest.
Yeah, I agree with I Wish I Win. I think the run will come. I think we will get that price on the Saturday. And the two double-figure horses I'll be throwing in are Hawaii 5-0 and also Wanna Notches, which is targeted this race in a similar fashion to I Wish I Win. So should be very exciting. We move on to the Group 1 King Charles Stakes. Mr. Brightside's won his last 5 races, including an All-Star Mile, including 3 Group 1s. He's been to Randwick twice. He's won 2 Doncasters. Tick, 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 tick. Have you got something of value that we throw in with him?
Well, he's the starting point, isn't he? Absolute starting point. And I think if you're trying to find a reason to bet against him, you're probably just being a little bit churlish, really, aren't you? Like, he's in white hot form. He's the best miler in the country.
For sure.
I think he's got to be a top pick. It's more a question about how well Light Infantryman is going, because he brings genuine international Group 1 mile form to this race, and typically form at that level from Europe is better than what we can dish up here. We haven't seen a lot of exposure to European top shelf milers. It's usually that 2,000 metres and plus where we know they excel. So I think perhaps that's why we were able to get a little bit of a price with Light Infantryman. I'm happy to back them both. I think what I'll be doing in this race, Matty, is having my major win bet on Mr. Brightside, and I'll be having a smaller win bet for a smaller profit on Light Infantryman, just in case that European form is the way to go.
Couldn't agree with you more. Spot on, summed up beautifully. Last race we'll look at in Sydney is the Kosciuszko. The betting suggests it's between Opal Ridge and Front Page, or have I missed one?
Yeah, maybe we've missed one. Maybe it's just a case of, I don't know, not recency bias, but, you see a horse with your own eyes sometimes and you think, wow, that's a bloody good win. And I was in Sydney at Randwick mid-September when Derry Grove won a highway. And he carried 61 kilos that day. Nasharawilla rode him. He won a similar highway before that at Randwick with 59.5. both occasions, he was an absolute class above his opposition. He quickened up like a real horse. I know April Ridge has got group form. I know Front Page is super fast, but I just think Derry Grove from gate 6 with Natural Willer in the saddle, I can't see him missing a top 3 spot. And at $8.50, I think he's the value in the Kosciuszko. What a great race. $2 million for horses that are largely country and provincial trained. It's a great concept, and yeah, it's an exciting race.
It is a good race. And speaking of which, we go to Caulfield for the Guineas. There's 3 Group 1s at Caulfield on the weekend. We start with the main event. Militarise is the favourite. Drawn a wide barrier, but Joe Moreira got this horse to win over 1,400. He's had the one start at 1,600 for a win in the Champagne. He's already a 3-time Group 1 winner. Yes or no?
Oh, big yes. Yeah, I think on the yes and no, this is the race that's in some ways dividing the nation, isn't it? You're either with Sydney and Militarise, or you're with Melbourne and Stapati.
Stapati, yeah.
2 really good horses. Like Stapati's obviously very talented, but there's only one horse in this race that's won 2 Group 1s at 2 and a Group 1 at 3, and it's Militarise. And yes, he's drawn wide. I'm not super concerned about that because he's a horse that probably likes to build into his work anyway. I think he'll probably get in just off the back of midfield. There's enough speed in this race to make it a genuine test without them going overly hard or slow in front. I think late in the day at Caulfield, as we know, Matty, they tend to get wide and use a bit of the track anyway. Militarise has got the turn of foot. I think he's going to prove himself to be the dominant 3-year-old as we go to a mile. And then if they want to go beyond that to a Cox Plate, he'll be right in the thick of things there. He's a win bet for me. I think the value and probably the horse to watch going towards a Derby is Verdad. Really like the way this horse is going towards a longer distance, like an Amy Vars, if it's still sponsored by Amy, but whatever it's called, the Vars at Moonee Valley and the Derby. He reminds me a bit of a horse from a few years ago, Helenas.
Yes.
I don't know if he's good enough to win a Guineas, but I think he's good enough to be running on really well, sort of into that top 5 slot. And you just put a big ring around him, Matty, for Derby Day, I think.
Go to the Toorak handicap, mate, and Amelia's Jewel is the favourite. I think we'll see the best of her now. I think she's just warming up really for these sort of races. I can't see her being beaten.
Absolutely, yeah. I think she's the bet of the day, really. I know, $2, people huff and puff and say, oh, well, I could have found that. Well, I think she's the best horse in the country, really. I genuinely believe that. She's got the X factor, and we haven't seen the best of her yet. I think she's been playing with her opposition today.
I agree.
She goes to handicap conditions, 3rd up, getting towards that peak fitness. I think she'll blow them off the park. I reckon Amenable, I know he disappointed on the face value of his odds last time, but his sectionals were actually very good given how the race was run. He's the forgotten horse in this race. I'll be playing him in the exactas along with Amelia's Jewel.
All right, and in the Might and Power, Alligator Blood is your favourite. You've also got Just Fine, who comes out of the Metrop. I don't mind Jewis. I thought I'd like the 4th last start. Where did you settle?
Yeah, look, I'm just hoping that tough 2,400-metre run hasn't taken the sprint out of Just Fine. I'm going to take on Alligator Blood in this race at 2,000 metres. He looked like a Group 1 horse, Just Fine, winning his 2 lead-up runs to that Metrop. And then I just don't think he ran the trip right out. He was there to go straight past Spirit Ridge at about the 300 mark, quickened, and then it was like he was all out getting there. So I just hope it hasn't sapped his energy coming back to 2,000. I hope he's still got that sharpness about him. I think that's a really good roughie in this race, Matty. It was a sneaky good run first up. Vow and Declare. Now, second
down the
up,
bottom of the betting, I'd suggest.
Yeah, well, second up earlier this year, this horse was second in an Australian Cup prelude and was a massive run there, and then went on to run really well in a Tancred. So we know he can perform second up. He's run some really good races at Caulfield. I just thought that Underwood run was a little bit better than people are giving him credit for. He's a massive price. He'll run a really good race, Vow and Declare.
All right, time is getting against us. You've got one more to come at Caulfield.
Yeah, race 4 in the Northwood Plume. Really good fillies and mares sprint for those horses sort of stepping into black type races. Get Up Girl, number 12. This is $26 here. I thought the Cranbourne Ring was great. She'd been spec'd at odds in listed races as a 3-year-old, and she'd run really well, has that magic time form. I think she's been completely underestimated in the market. She'll get some of mine on Saturday.
Got it down as my best value bet. Mentioned magic time. And I mentioned that Ben Mellon was happy to stick. She's a progressive horse, so well done, mate. Mate, enjoy the weekend. It's going to be sensational, and let's hope that we fill our pockets and we're back next week.
Fingers crossed. I'll see you out there, Matty.
That's Mick Sharkie, as always, looking at what is an amazing Saturday's racing. Good luck. Hope you find a win.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.